is the Orange Zone, sponsored by Apex Entertainment.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into another edition of the Orange Zone podcast. That's Ashley Wenskoski. I'm Samantha Croston, and we are joined by two very special guests today. We have Allyson Trice, a Syracuse graduate, and Paige Crandall, a graduate of Moyne, both star women's lacrosse players, and we have them in today for a very special reason. The Haudenosaunee Women's Nationals team announced their 22-player roster for the Pan-American Lacrosse Association Women's Qualifier. That's a mouthful. We're going to get to what that means. But it will take place from June 26th to the 30th at Lake Myrtle Sports Complex in Auburndale, Florida. And it's a really, really cool opportunity for you guys, and I know some people on Team USA as well, to represent nationally and help to elevate this sport. So thank you guys so much both for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, us too. So I guess I just want to, start by asking you guys what this process was like and how long you've been involved with this team for.
Yeah, I've been with Team Haudenosaunee since 2022. I started with the World Games in Maryland, where I think we placed 7th, 9th, something like that. But we did really well. I was just coming off, I actually took a 5th year at Pittsburgh. So I finished up my collegiate career and then got the opportunity to continue playing. And honestly, it's been such an amazing experience. The girls really remind you of why you're playing and what the game really means. And it was really good to kind of get back to that and play with a full heart again. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience for me.
That's amazing. What about you, Ashley? You can ask a question too.
Well, I feel like we should rewind a little bit and
Agree.
give the viewers some backstory on if you want to talk about your Syracuse women's lacrosse career for a second, and then you at Moyne as well. Just sort of give viewers, I guess, a little bit of backstory on your playing career.
Yeah, I went to Syracuse in 2017-2018 season. I played all 4 years there. It was a great experience. I got to play under Gary Gate and Reggie Thorp, who is now taking over. So by the time I was a senior, by the way, I played defense. I'm a defender. We got to the national championship. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was a great experience to go all the way and kind of compete at that level. And Syracuse is such an amazing town to play this sport in. So it was an amazing experience. Definitely met some of my best friends that I'll live forever and got to play the game I love. So it's a great time.
I love that. That makes me feel nostalgic, honestly, just thinking about it. I'm sad that part of my life is over. And what about for you?
So I went to Moyne. My first year was the 2019-2020 season. So my first year was actually the COVID year. We had I stayed for my 5th year, actually. I ended up staying there. And I really loved my experience at Moyne. And again, some of my best friends are from there. And we won the NE10 championship my senior year, actually. So that was a big thing for us.
Well, that's amazing, and I'm happy to hear about both your guys' collegiate careers. Maybe before we get into the Haudenosaunee Women's National Team and that experience, you guys can just tell us your most memorable moment from playing collegiately.
For me, probably when we won the NE10 championship would probably be one that sticks out for me, because that was the year we found out we were moving to Division I. So we finished D2 with that championship, and actually Allie was assistant coach that year too. So so that was definitely a big memorable thing.
Was it? I was just always curious about this. How was that, the transition? Were you there for the transition going to D1? And if so, what was that like?
Yes, so the transition was my 5th year. So I ended up staying. It was rough at first. We're getting better. Things are going up now, but it was definitely a rough first year. Just a lot of learning, whole different level. But I think for the most part, our program, our values have stayed the same, so it wasn't that big of a change. As far as our team, it was just competition change.
And we should probably preface for our viewers that you guys are both coaches on the Moyne staff right now for Moyne women's lacrosse. So I feel like that does sort of lead into the next question is for you, we weren't a player at Moyne, but how have you seen that kind of transition to Division I go on the coaching side of things?
Yeah, being on the coaching side has definitely been an adjustment. You see a lot more than you're used to and kind of what goes on behind the scenes. So I give all my coaches a ton of love for getting us on the field every day. But I think that transition, like Paige was saying, it's a tough one. The pace of play from D2 to D1 is a completely different ball game. Even the reffing style, it's a lot more physical. So it's more so just getting the girls to kind of like buy into that mindset of like, this is what we're doing, this is the kind of what happened, and take the opportunity and run with it. You know, you get to go from D2 to D1. That's a big step, but also a big opportunity. So kind of just try to preach that to the girls.
Now, you did mention this earlier, but I feel like I may as well ask you a question on this before we jump into it. You said that when you were at Syracuse, you played with Reggie Thorp. Now he is about to be announced this week as the new head coach of the Syracuse women's lacrosse team. What did you think about him? We're genuinely just curious and wanting insight on what kind of a guy he is.
He's an amazing guy. He's definitely always giving like dad energy, which is great for the girls.
Love that.
And we have all loved him, and I think the alumni is super excited that he's taking over the program and he's like kind of coming home kind of thing. He was definitely my favorite coach and my mentor, really helped me buy in, and like he was always like, hey, we're learning and kind of thing when I was a freshman. Always made me talk because I was a mute when I first got to college, but he really instilled a lot of good values to the team, and a lot of his sayings I kind of took and I give to my girls today. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with the program.
How do you feel like his experience from your time there when he was an assistant coach under Gary Gait, when Gary Gait was the head coach, you know, you mentioned it, you guys went to the national championship, the whole 9 yards. How do you feel like that experience at Syracuse specifically will benefit him as head coach?
I mean, he has so much experience to pull from as a player, as a coach, and he was really a big part of our team and really like a guiding light for us. I mean, his pregame speeches were absolutely insane and something that I wish I could go back and relive. They really got everybody in the locker room pumped up, and I feel like from a coaching side, it's kind of hard to get a bunch of girls to like rally all together at the same time, but he really has a special skill for that. And I think just combining his experience, his knowledge of the game, along with his coaching style, it's really going to go a far way with that.
No, it's interesting because one thing we had discussed even last week, or really the past couple weeks on the Orange Zone podcast, so check out, you know, the episodes that we've done previously if you want to hear more about that, is the idea that Reggie Thorp is somebody who's defensive minded. You mentioned it earlier, you're a defender. You know, that really is what makes me feel curious, is the idea that, as you very well know, Syracuse women's lacrosse is still trying to get over that big hump of winning a national championship. It seems insane to me that they've never won, just considering all the success they've had, but that's the reality. Do you think that by having someone who's more defensive-minded, as opposed to somebody who was really more offensive-heavy in their playing career, do you think that's the kind of switch that could be positive for the Syracuse team?
I think it could be very positive. I think, obviously, the saying goes, defense wins championships, and I don't think that obviously came out of nowhere. Like, it definitely has some merit to it, as well as I think as a defender, you kind of start to understand offenses and you have a certain mind for the game that I think as a coach you could go to the other side of things and say, hey, like, you're playing against a zone, like, this is what's going to work against them, because you kind of know where those gaps are if you're really following the defense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's well said. So outside of that, let's get into this Haudenosaunee National team a little bit, because I want to hear what you guys have to say on that. Just to give people a little bit of background, again, this tournament is going to be played from June 26th to the 30th in Florida, and both of the ladies we have here today made the 22-person roster, so congratulations. That's a really big accomplishment. The top 4 teams in this tournament are actually going to be able to qualify for the 2026 World Lacrosse Women's Championship held in Japan. That is really cool. You know, before we get into the process and all of that, I just want to know what you guys think about being, you know, able to represent, you know, this nation and being able to just help to elevate the sport of women's lacrosse onto the national and even international stage.
Definitely is something that is bigger than ourselves, and every time we put on that jersey, it's a whole different feeling. And you're surrounded by a group of people that are there for the same thing. You guys, the bond that we build, even though we're going to be there for 8 days, like, we're going to leave there and it's going to be like, that's your group of sisters. So we get super close and we all go there and we all want the same thing.
That's really special. What about for you? How does that feel to just know that you're representing something so important to so many people, even here locally?
It's very exciting. Every time, like Paige was saying, I put on that jersey, I do get reminded of why I even started to play in general, and I feel like that gets lost sometimes in the collegiate world. But just to represent like my mom's heritage and kind of get back in touch with those roots is really special. And for a nation that's constantly fighting for like their sovereignty and to be recognized, like you put on that jersey and like you really want to play well. Like you want to, and it's not selfish lacrosse, which is really big. Like it's a team sport, and like you can really feel like the team chemistry anytime that we're on the field. And like one thing I'll always say is like it's just so much fun. It's competitive fun, and that's kind of a hard balance to find.
Lacrosse, as we're sort of discussing, at its root is a game that was created by the native populations in this country. So how important is it for you guys, I guess, to continue that legacy and carry on, lacrosse on a national stage for your population, those people?
Yeah, I think overall it's very important to grow the game for all the girls that are playing right now. And then even deeper on the Haudenosaunee level, it is the culture that sometimes doesn't always want the women playing. So to be able to play, show everyone that like we're capable and we're strong, like I always will go back to like it's just such a group of strong women. And it's just amazing to kind of be a part of that.
Yeah, do you get that sense and feeling too that you're surrounded by really strong women, like a sense of just female empowerment, being able to be there and play on that team?
Yeah, so it's definitely, Allie kind of said it, like we are just like a strong group. Once we're all together, it's like we can't be divided, so.
Would you guys mind telling us, and we can start with you, what are your Haudenosaunee roots and how long have you been involved with this for?
Yeah, so my family is from Onondaga Nation, comes from my mom's side, and I've been with the program since 2019. I've played in both formats, the field and the sixes. So
the sixes, by the way, Paige Crandall, we didn't mention this, we should have already, is a goalie. That is a no-joke format to be a goalie in. Let me just say that you must have had some bruises after that.
It's the most fun format.
Really? Why? I'm so curious.
You get more shots.
Yeah.
So you get, right, they score, doesn't matter, you have to clear it, right? You have 10 seconds to get it over, and then they're coming back down in 30 seconds. So there's no time to really think about it.
Or even think about the shots that went in. That would be what's
right.
fun to me. I feel like you don't have to mentally I feel like in field lacrosse you're sort of sitting there thinking about any of the balls that you let go in the net, where you really don't have time to do that in that format. Very cool. And what about for you? What are your roots?
So my family's from the Oneida Nation, and then it comes down my mom's side. And I've been playing since 2022. And then again, like Paige was saying, both formats, full field and sixes, and I would agree the sixes is a lot of fun.
That's so interesting. For any of our viewers who are, interested in women's lacrosse, but they want to get to know more about it in some of the formats, can you describe to us briefly what is sixes all about, and why is it more fun in your opinion?
The fast-paced energy is definitely a ton of fun. And then going from field as a defender to then a sixes format and being able to go from defense to offense and actually shoot the ball a couple of times is so much fun for me. The sixes format, so it's 5-on-5 with a goalie. You can kind of just sub in and out through the box. It's very exhausting, so sometimes you just play defense, play offense, and then you run right back out because you're going to be breathless. But I think that's kind of what I love about it. Yeah, what about you, Paige?
I think just the pace of the game, like I kind of said earlier, it's a lot faster. It definitely can pick up a lot of attention.
Is this upcoming tournament sixes or this is field lacrosse?
Full field.
Okay, understood. Beyond that, I guess I just want to know, you guys both mentioned that you have been involved with this organization for some time. What makes this particular tournament in Florida different, or this time around, interesting?
This tournament is definitely huge with the Olympics kind of looming in 2028. So we have to, qualify for the World Games that will be next year in Japan. So we have to place top 4. So it's very important that we show up and play well. And then also, too, Haudenosaunee is still kind of fighting for its place in the Olympics to fully be recognized and allowed in. So the better we do, the more it kind of shows the committee, like, hey, you can't ignore us. Like, we're up there. Like, it would be kind of a disservice to the sport and obviously our people if you don't include us.
Yeah. And what about, just for you? You've been here, like you said, for several years now. What makes this time around different?
Yeah, so similar. I mean, we have to place top 4 in order to go to the World Cup. And then I think it's just trying to draw as much attention for our people as we can and really show them that we deserve to be in the Olympics. Like, I think it's just, there's a lot of stuff going around right now about that, like interviews. And there was just an article a couple weeks ago that was just released about how IOC hasn't really changed their mind yet. So I think it's just trying to draw as much attention as we can to us and try to get people on our side to make that push.
We were sort of talking offline, before we started, on the tryout process to make this team. It's a roster of only 22. Can you just describe for us a little bit, like, how competitive that process is?
Yeah, it's pretty competitive. Like I said, it's a really strong group of women. So, for us, I think Paige is starting to learn as well since she's newly out of college. But a lot of the girls are still in college playing at really competitive, great programs. So they're coming in shape, touching their stick every day. And, like, we really have to, like, go out of our way to, like, continue training and not only train, but train at a level that's going to be competitive. So it's definitely a tough process once you leave college, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. This is my first time experiencing that because every other year I have still been in college. So it's definitely been a learning curve trying to figure out how I'm going to train, especially, like, as a goalie. Training by yourself is impossible. Like,
right?
You can only do so much.
Someone come shoot on this girl, all right?
I've been trying, but I don't know if I'm really preparing her.
No, I think that is funny. It's like an interesting point that you bring that up because, we even saw that Emma Muchnick, who is one of the Syracuse players here right now, is going to be playing on Team USA. And all I know is that once I graduated college, it was different. It was a different body. It was a different situation. You're working. There's a lot more going on. So commend you guys for that effort. Going into this tournament, who are some of the other top teams that you guys feel will be, you'll be competing against? Who's at the top of this field?
Definitely USA and Canada right off the bat, I would say.
Yeah, so we actually open up with Canada. They're our first game.
Okay.
So that's our pool is us, Canada. I think Mexico is in our pool. Argentina. So Canada's definitely going to be the toughest one for us in our pool. Mexico usually is a pretty strong team. They're not someone to overlook. And we just saw Argentina in the sixes format, so I'm interested to see how they do in the field setting.
And take us through, like, that process a little bit. Like, we were also discussing that a bit before, but you guys basically get down there, and you said you have one practice before the tournament begins?
Yep, one practice, and then we hop on the field and we play Team Canada. So,
It's a little stressful.
it's just like the whistle blows. The first play is always a little bit nerve-wracking, and then you just kind of got to settle in. There's no other choice, right? So, like we said, we do have to show up. We have to place top 4 to keep going. So, I think the hope is that everyone's kind of putting in that work on their own so that when we all meet, it's more so going over strategy things and kind of building more of a chemistry. We do get a few training camps throughout the year that we get to play, and then Paige and I have been playing together since I joined in 22, and same with all of the girls. It's a very similar roster, although we open up the tryouts every time. But over the years, we've built some chemistry.
Yeah. The other thing I was curious about, you guys mentioned how there are several teams that are in the group. What exactly is the format here, and how do they determine who the top 4 teams are?
Do you want to take this one?
So there's 2 pools, so we have 8 teams in this tournament, and it'll be winner of Pool A versus Pool B for the championship. So I think we'll play round robin for the beginning. Okay. Everyone will play each other in your pool, and then it'll move into a bracket.
What would it mean to you guys? If you were able to be one of those 4 teams that qualifies to go then represent in Japan.
That's the only goal we're looking at right now. So I think that's, like, the biggest part is we know we're going to play Canada and USA, but we've beat Canada in the past, and like we have that like momentum where we're like, we know we can be there with those top teams. So it's like we're all just going in there with the mindset of not just aiming for top 4, like we're aiming for gold.
Yeah, what about for you?
Yeah, and I think too, everyone kind of has that bigger picture Olympic in mind. Like we want to get there, obviously. So I think this tournament kind of means more for us than anyone at this point.
You go.
I was just going to say more on the Olympic front. Like, in your opinion, obviously you brought it up as well, that this debate and this discussion is ongoing with the IOC. What do you think, is right for the Haudenosaunee? Like, how, like, in terms of the IOC, what do you think that they should be looking at that they're maybe necessarily not considering?
I mean, I think the most obvious answer to that is that we are the creators of the game. So it's kind of crazy to not include us, I would say. Also, just looking at how much our program has grown and how competitive we are. Like Paige mentioned, we have beat Canada in the past, and obviously U.S. and Canada are pulling from like an amazing group of women, and we're right there. And I feel like we keep fighting to show that and getting people to acknowledge that. And at the end of the day, it's really just the fight to be acknowledged.
That's really well said. Yeah, what about for you? Do you have anything to say on that, just that idea of, the fight to be acknowledged, and what would your pitch be, if you were writing an article or trying to advocate for why this should happen?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to, like, if you ever, like, go around to, like, these World Cup tournaments or anything like that, all these teams sell their own merchandise, and it's crazy how many people want our stuff. So it's like people want to see us at that level, and we've had the situation in the past where Team Ireland actually stepped down so that we could go to the tournaments. So I just think there's so many people out there that are rooting for us. And, like, Joe Biden made a statement to the IOC, like, a broad statement about the Olympics and saying we should be included. And then I believe it was the Prime Minister of Canada also made a statement. So I think we have a lot of the right people on our side. I think it's just getting them to really open their eyes and see who we are.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really
well said.
yeah.
The last thing from me, and then if you have any other questions too, I just wanted to at least bring up the fact that also on the staff for the Haudenosaunee team is Liz Bevel, who is the head women's lacrosse coach at Moyne, who obviously works with both of you now. Just what's that like to kind of have that feeling like it really is all in the family? There's a lot of familiar faces here again.
I mean, it's great. Like I said, and Paige mentioned as well, when we all get together, we're having fun, and it's just amazing to kind of go from the office, all 3 of us kind of bantering there, and then we're bantering on the field, and who knows where, 'cause a few years ago we were in Jamaica, and like we're kind of traveling all over. So it's a great experience, and something that I'll never take for granted.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with what Ally's saying. I mean, I played for Bev for 5 years, and now I'm working with her, and so we spend a lot of time together, so it's definitely a fun connection to have to continue to bring down with us.
Probably too much time together. Huh? I'm just kidding. That was my coach too. I'm allowed to say that. You have anything else?
I guess my only thing to wrap up would be, and we sort of touched on it towards the beginning, but how important is it for you guys to, elevate women's lacrosse, not only for all young girls, but especially for girls in the Haudenosaunee Nation?
It's very important. I mean, this sport has brought so much joy and opportunity to my life that I never thought was possible, and I really would love for all the younger girls, the next generation, to experience that and experience it in a way more, I'm trying to think of the right word.
Yeah.
In a broader way where there's more, like I had a lot of opportunity, but now I see like the evolution of like the NIL and all of this that's going on, and women's lacrosse shouldn't be counted out in that. Like you see all the big sports kind of like get their deals and all this and that, and it'd be like we're here and like such great athletes and a really untapped market that I would love the opportunity for those girls that are gonna come up and take our places to have.
Yeah, kind of just going off that. I just think it's so important for the next generation of the Haudenosaunee girls to like look up and see us competing our best, so that they want to do that as well. And one of the biggest things we always say is, what you give to the game, you get back. So we do a lot of stuff that's like volunteer, and like this past fall, a few of us, Fawn Porter and Bean Miner, like we all went up to Six Nations and did a free clinic with all the girls on the res. So it was like, it's really good to give back, and there's nothing better than seeing the next generation really look up to you guys.
Well,
that's awesome.
On behalf of both of us, you guys are doing an amazing job to elevate the game. Congratulations once again, and we really hope this is an amazing experience for both of you. Again, this is taking place June 26th to the 30th down in Florida. Any chance it's broadcasted? Can we tell people where to watch it, or you guys are not sure yet?
It's probably broadcast. We're not sure.
Okay. We'll find that out and we'll pop it in a web story or something. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, this has been the Orange Zone Podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. We will see you back here next week. Talk soon.